Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar series. We're so excited to just have this conversation with Brother Gishlain from Taize. Yami, do you want to introduce Brother?
Yes, it's really a pleasure to have you here with us, Brother Gishlain. The Brother Gishlain was actually, before entering Taize Brothers, was a doctor, and he was working also in a hospital. And at the same time, he started to get involved with Taize Brothers. And then just the Lord called his heart to Taize. So welcome, brother. And then we are so happy to have the opportunity to talk to you, to speak to you, to see through your artistic work also what the Lord has placed in your heart. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. For me, yeah, as I already wrote to you, is a gift, but is a challenge also to be together today. A gift because I know Jesus used mostly from India for nearly 30 years, I think. And regularly, young people were sent first from India and then after from other countries. A gift because the theme that you have on beauty means a lot for me, but it's also a challenge because how to communicate something which is very, very close to my heart, but also I would like to be essential, not only words. Then we'll see what happens together. Yeah, thank you.
Brother, if we could just start by, actually, if you can just help us define beauty. I know you speak about beauty in a very broad sense. You also bring into it the idea of simplicity and of unity. So what is beauty to you?
Yeah. When I received the invitation, of course, I was wondering how to find the words to say what is beauty. When I was a child, I was living with my grandparents in the countryside. They have a big garden. And I think I was 5 or 6 years old, not, yes, maybe, I don't know, 6, 7. And I was running on a little path. There were on the left side, cherry tree. And on the other side, there were the flowers of my grandmother likes to care for. The sky was blue, everything was so beautiful. And suddenly I have the experience of the splendor of God. And I would say, when I know that I will share something on beauty, is that memory who came to me.
No, that's really beautiful.
I think it's an experience. I think it's an experience of God.
And I think in that there's a certain mystery too. So especially when describing beauty, we are at a loss for words, but all the more as artists or even as people, how do you see the role of beauty in our lives, either as an expression of God's beauty, as an expression of his splendor and majesty, as an expression of even ourselves and the mystery of who we are? How do you see beauty maybe working in the world? How do you see it as either something we can use as a means or as a vocation? You've also mentioned it as a vocation. How is beauty, we can witness it, but how do we also open ourselves to a greater experience of it?
Yeah. In the last weeks, and in fact, last Wednesday, our brothers, we read together Laudato Si. And last Wednesday was the last chapter. And Pope Francis speaks several times about the beauty who could create unity. I think when suddenly we feel in harmony, we shall say, oh, it's beautiful. And I think in our world today, in our society, beauty could help us to find ways of peace. Yeah, there are so many different levels. Perhaps the personal level is to take time to admire. Again, a memory when I was no more a child. I was in a college, in high school, and I was always very eager to and worried to do my homework. And when I came home, my mother, who knew, say, please wait, just sit. You don't have to speak. But we were on the kind of little garden in the house. And she said, listen. And until today, I remember to give a space to take time to perhaps to see the beauty of the beauty of God again, and find this to welcome God's peace. And in our society, which now is so, in a way, frightening for so many people, where there is no beauty in many places, how we could be creators of beauty. And suddenly, yeah, I don't know how it will fit with what I will say in the video, how we could, the beauty is given by God, but we are like John the Baptist, we have to pave the way, we have to prepare it. And that means first to welcome the Brother Roger always say the profound beauty of the human soul. And it's not always that we see the beauty of our soul, of our heart. And to dare to believe that we have been created to God's image, and that in the depths of our heart we have still that print. No? Do you understand what I say?
Yes, brother. There is something that you have mentioned before about how to discover, and how just even your mom was telling you to just listen or observe, or in a very simple way, and even for you, it's very like beauty and simplicity go hand in hand. Could you expand more into that, and even share with us how Taize brothers get to do that? Because at the house you can see the simplicity, and at the same time we can discover beauty in it.
Yeah, certainly. Maybe we anticipate a little bit the video, but perhaps you can put the question with what I will say also. The first time I came to Taize, I wrote in my diary, here everything is simple and beautiful. It's a kind of to be sober, but at the same time to reveal the beauty of the food, the color of a vegetable, of a fruit, the way the table is disposed. Simple but not sad. To reveal the beauty of what exists already. And in that way, simplicity helps a lot, not to make things complicated. Also, in relationship, to try to try. It's not so easy, but to have the simplicity to say if something is not as we would like, and to try to trust that we shall find a way to understand each other. That means that simplicity in a home, in the food, but also in relationship.
Yeah, I think that's that simplicity is something, and the beauty of it is something that every young person, they run to Taize for it. You know, Taize is this like a wellspring, or just a source of peace for so many young people, because in the world, in the secular world, I guess you could say, there's just so much, and you get caught up almost in a tornado. So when you come to just the peace of simplicity, and even like you said, in food, in prayer, sitting down on the floor, you know, connecting back with the earth, and in the beautiful hills of Taize, and the just the secluded and separated, it's, you can, what you mentioned, to receive again the beauty of God first.
Yeah.
To receive that is, it just opens up your heart so much. But I'd like to then ask you, in receiving God's beauty, and you mentioned we are called to be like St. John the Baptist and pave the way. What are some things that, how can we do that? What are some things that you've learned maybe in your own life that have really, something I've been so touched upon is that you want to capture human suffering and see that it's beautiful too. You said even someone's tears are precious, and you want to express that in your art. So I'd love to know more about how you came into this journey of wanting to create and pave the way for someone else to encounter and experience God's beauty.
I think the listening, in Taize, we tried, the brothers, but also the sisters who share the ministry with us, to listen to the young people who come, that not to tell them what they have to think, what they have to do, but to let them discover their own beauty, I would say. And listening is very important. That means listen, we have to be a servant. No? If you are a servant in a house, and you know that there will be guests, you prepare everything, but when the guests come, you remain discreet, and you let the host and the guest to speak together. And I think with the young people who come to Taize, we would like to be at the service, to let really the young people coming be able to listen to God and not to us. But if we let them express their struggle, or their hope, or their deep desire, or their dreams for the future, that they could express something deep in their heart, then they are also able to welcome God's word, and I would say, and to discover that in the world, so many people now come from broken families. Yeah. How can you speak about beauty? So many violence. No? The pandemic have done also a lot of domestic violence, with deepened relationship, also violence. How you can speak about beauty, but perhaps you can point that there is a place where there is a beauty. It's confusing.
No, I think that I feel so almost in harmony with what you're saying, and the experience of my own time in Taize. And I just want to keep going there, in as especially for us as Jesus Youth, and when we talk about evangelization, there's a huge role that beauty can play in pointing the way, as you mentioned. How can you speak a little bit more about that? How can we point the way without telling someone this is the way?
For instance, this afternoon, just before coming, I crossed our church, no? And now there were very few people because it's daytime, afternoon, nobody is in the church. But when I look the sanctuary and the way it's decorated now, is like appealing. You mentioned the word mystery at the beginning, no? Mm-hmm. And it's like through the simplicity of the decoration, but at the same time we are pointing he's there without too complicated things. And, yeah,
beautiful.
I think just one more thing with that. Something a lot of us also struggle with is that we don't think we're creators. We don't think we have a place to create. We're not artists. I like to draw, but I'll never call myself an artist because I think I don't know the technique. I always am critical of my work. And even when I talk to people otherwise too, they draw stick figures or, something like that, or even engineers or people who think they're so far away from the scope of what is art and beauty and who is an artist and who is a creator. How can we broaden that understanding to help people know that everyone is called to create? And I love the way you said it, pave the way, like John the Baptist said, like or as John the Baptist pave the way to say, like, the Lord is coming, and prepare that way for others.
Yeah, I think all of us, in a way, we are artists. And I don't feel also, when you say that you like to draw, but you are an artist, I think it's the same for me. When you have a problem, it could be a misunderstanding, you are impatient, you are angry, or you are worried, you are anxious. Beauty could also help us to nourish goodness and to try to make us free. I think this inner freedom. You have a big question, but you just go for a walk, and suddenly you take a distance, no?
Yeah.
Or you see something beautiful, and you say, "Oh, it's okay." But at the same time, you are very anxious, and sometimes the day is so beautiful you cannot bear it because it's not what you feel. That means it's very, very sensitive, no? But beauty could liberate something in us, and to, as I said, to nourish goodness, but also to see the beauty of the one with whom you have a problem, for instance, or with some of the political situation where you say, no, I cannot accept. And how beauty could find you to see, what can I do today, now? Maybe I could do very little, perhaps just to pray, but at least to do it. Not to lose time to be angry, and to pray, just to surrender. No?
So is that, go ahead.
It's like beauty also help you to find the way back, to see or to encounter harmony again.
Yes. And the one that God has created the nature, the the sky and the earth and the human being, and how to create this harmony again. What is there? What is it's in us, but we don't see it, or we forgot it. Yeah.
So with that too, what in your own life, what inspires you to create? What draws you into that encounter? You've spoken many times about nature. Is there a particular artist or a specific piece, an icon, or just a piece of artwork or a sculpture, anything that every time, or just draws you into the presence of God?
When I was a child, again, the priest of the parish was a young priest, and I stayed with my grandparents because I was an orphan. My parents died when I was very small, very 4 years, and he always gave me the taste of beauty in the church. And he wanted to simplify the church to reveal the beauty of a statue, of a sculpture, and that is the very beginning. And then he was living with his mother, and they have a garden, and I was welcome, and that means hospitality, the beauty and simplicity of the church was the very first, I would say, I never thought, but because you asked me the question, I would say is there. When I was in the village between the church, the garden, the house of my grandparents, beauty was revealed to me.
Wow, that's so interesting that you speak of hospitality as an invitation to encounter beauty.
Yeah.
I think that's very much also the spirit of Taize. I know with Taize, everything is about welcoming. So, even the 0.5 cleaning the toilets is always about we want to welcome. We want to welcome. But I can't tell you that even the spirit of welcoming that just resounds within Taize, like you said, it adds to the beauty of the place and the beauty of encountering God. And it doesn't just have to be within a sculpture, but it's even within a home, the beauty of a home, the beauty of a welcoming, of a spirit of welcome. I really like that. Thank you.
Just 2 days ago, I visit a house for elderly people, and one of the person I am visiting, she has Alzheimer, and it's so beautiful to be with her. We could say, oh, it's so sad.
Yeah,
it's true. But we have, I don't know. For me, I say, I am privileged to be asked to visit her. I receive something of the beauty of God's daughter, God's son, something sacred.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think in beauty there is what you mentioned of mystery, but also sacredness.
Yeah, that's true.
To find the beauty in the human being as a sacred image of the Creator also, right? Like what He has placed in every human being, sacred, as beautiful, like even if you see something that is a little hard, but how beautiful you can encounter, the presence of God there. Yeah.
I don't know how we shall manage, because there are things that I wanted to say, but you will manage, I think, no?
I think, yeah, it's still good to talk again and emphasize certain things that it never hurts to hear it again.
No, I think, brother, would you like to give an invitation to the youth, like to discover, the many ways that they can create, find beauty? So if you can give a message to the youth and to the families, to anyone that is listening, from you and from the brothers and from your talk, your invitation, what it will be to discover beauty and creation.
You ask a big question, but I think deep in our hearts we have a thirst, a deep desire for fullness of joy or fullness of love. And even if we have been wounded by life, still there. Mm-hmm. And how to not to give up searching, to trust that that desire comes from God, that and that there's so much brokenness, but from a brokenness could come a new life, that nothing is lost. Is really what I try to do when I am doing my collage, is that nothing is lost. Even our tears are so precious that God is receiving in a vase. In the Psalm, it is said that in the Psalm 56, it is said that our tears are so precious. And yeah, God knows, and but don't give up. And I speak to myself, not to give up. Yeah, and I think together we can support one another. To the team of Taize is always on the move this year, and in the time of lockdown, how to be on the move,
yeah,
and to live this inner pilgrimage. Yeah. I don't know.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much, brother. Really touched my heart. Well, yeah, thank you so much, brother Gishlain, for being with us here today. And I think I have really, my heart is open so much to experience God in this beautiful encounter with you and just this time with you, speaking about beauty. I think I thought my understanding of beauty was broad, but I think you've just expanded it even more to experience the majesty of God, but in its unifying and simplifying way too, so that we can receive it, to not be afraid of it, but to be emboldened by His presence. So thank you again, and of course, I'm so grateful for the brothers at Taize and the sisters and the community and the space, especially that beautiful space that you have created for young people. I have received so much for myself, and even just me as an artist, as a co-creator with God too. I was so inspired there, and I thank you so much for your words today.
Thank you
for sharing them with Jesus Youth.
Thank you very much. Thank you to you.